DIY with Chris, giving you the tools to do it yourself.
Hello everyone, we're doing another project on the truck today. It's our GMC Sierra 2500 HT. We're doing this in preparation for the road trip later this year. Currently we are working on installing our mud guards. They are the Husky liners mud guards. We're going to be doing this for both the front and back wheel wells. Big reason for this is the front wheel wells. I just installed new runners on the truck, and just with the little driving that we've been doing already with these flat runners, the mud has been being kicked up onto them, and so the runners are getting really muddy. I don't really mind, but long term, especially if other people are driving in the truck with me, I don't want them to have to step down onto muddy runners. So it's just kind of something to give everybody a little bit of peace of mind on it. For the rear tires, the reason why we were putting them back there is the trailer that we're going to be pulling behind us. It's a 24-foot trailer right now, but on our trip up to Alaska, we were pulling a trailer as well with no mud flaps or mud guards or anything, and the rocks that were being thrown up at the trailer really dented the front end of it. So we're putting those on to try and avoid some of that stuff right now. These are supposed to be super easy to install. You're not supposed to have to actually drill anything on these ones, so we'll go ahead and get started. Here's the box. First thing, all I did was open it. I haven't actually seen anything inside yet. So first package I'm pulling out is one of the liners. It has the screws right there that we're going to be using for it, and then this sheet of film right here is actually the Invisalign, I think is what they call it, or just film that protects your paint job when you install them. The liner that comes in these is a liner that helps protect the paint when you put on the mud guards. So these do sit right up against the paint job on your vehicle. So you apply that to there, you clean it off first, and then it helps protect that. That way if you do remove them, it won't have those scratches on it. So all that's in the box is these two sheets. So it's just this one and this one with the actual bolts in them, and that's all there is to it. So we'll get into the instructions and go ahead and start doing this. Okay, so the particular ones that we pulled out first were the rear mud guards. So it is the Husky liner ones. This is the instructions for them. Pretty easy to read, very good English. So tools required, it says, is a 1/8 inch drill bit and drill, a center punch hammer, and short Phillips screwdriver or drill attachment. Package contents: driver and passenger side rear mudguard, the screws right there, 8 of them, and paint protection film. That's what they call it. That's what this is. This is the paint protection film. So we'll clean this off first, which is actually really bad on mine, so I'll have to do some serious cleaning, but clean this off first, and then this film will go right there, and then this piece will come up just like that, and that way when you install this, it doesn't scratch it up and everything. So even if mud gets there in between them, it won't scratch it up. And then we have the instruction sheet, which is this right here. So main thing this has is just says clean and degrease the mudguard location area on the fender before installation. That's the next thing we'll do. Hold the mudguard fender and mark the drill and a 1/8 inch hole at location B. So location B is the second one down. So that would be this one when we hold it up there. Install the mudguard to the rear fender with a screw that comes with it. Check fit and parallel and adjust accordingly. Mark and drill 1/8 inch holes at the other locations and install those screws. So for these rear guards, we are going to have to actually drill the holes, which makes sense to me, and I was thinking would probably have to happen because this side back here doesn't have any pre-drilled holes or screws that are in it. On the front wheel well. There are already holes and screws that are pre-done from the factory, so that one makes sense that it's a no drill required. But for this one, it is for the rear one. So we'll go ahead and get this cleaned up now and start moving on to the next step. Alright, so I've washed just the kind of bare minimum right here. I'm not washing the entire truck, but I've washed the bare minimum right here, this well, and then a little bit on the outside. That's going to kind of do this portion of it. So we're going to just put this up here against it, and then what we're wanting to do is, like you were saying, mark this second hole. Once that second hole is marked, I'm going to go ahead and take this off, and we can drill that hole. It's asking for this 1/8 inch hole to be drilled, so we have our drill set up. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. It's a little bit harder to get it right on just because it is slipping around, but alright, so we've drilled that first hole. Easiest way of doing this is going to be to remove your rear tire. It's kind of cramped in here and your hole can kind of be at an angle. That's how mine is right now, but it's going to do what it needs to here. And then you just line it back up, and I'm tightening this down. It's actually pretty sturdy with just the one right now. So it's all lined up right now. Now that this one's screwed in, I'm going to just take this marker. I'm going to finish marking the holes. These two bottom one here, they're going to be pretty difficult to actually drill the way that it is. So try and do that the best we can. Easiest way is, again, just going to be to remove your rear tire while you're doing it. And then there's this top one, so I'm going to go ahead and mark all these right now. Something before we, even if we drill them right now, before we actually secure down the rest of these, is you have to take that liner that it comes with and install that on the truck for that paint protection. I don't really mind it, but it does come with it. So I'll just finish marking those. I'll go ahead and take this off now, and we'll put on the liner. As you can see in this picture, paint protection film placement location is on the outside here. It goes on the outside, not this inner portion, just on the outside and down. So to go down and then around the bottom of that lip into the end. So that'll just keep it from any mud getting in there, and actually painting it on the outside. On the inside of the wheel well is kind of expected to get scratched. So we'll do that at this time. Take this off. I just hand tighten this in. Again, this is at kind of an awkward angle too, so when we get to doing those other two that are further in there, probably need to do it with a different tool. This screw did go in pretty easy, isn't too hard, and there we go. So we have these other holes that are marked. Go ahead and put on this liner. So this one sheet does have two of them. Okay, so for this side I'm gonna start with the bottom here. When I finished washing my actual truck on the outside, I took an alcohol pad and finished it off. The kit does not come with it, but I do have some, so that was the best way of doing it, and it'll make it nice and clean. You're going to want to wash your area probably about 2 inches back, and that'll give you plenty of room. And that'll fit in just like that again. Alright, we'll go ahead and start drilling these other ones and start moving on. Alright, so we're moving on now to the fronts. When we purchased this on Amazon, these are used. They were the Amazon checked ones. So this is what we've got. You have the same kind of a package here. It has the 2 liners. This is like a little catalog for them. Just kind of shows what they have available. And we have the parts. Now, the parts on this are a little bit different from the other ones, from what I can see. Put them in here. So it does still have the screws in there with the washers on them, but it has these little clips. So figure out what these are. Not sure why these two are stuck together, but and it does have the paint protection film. So with these, there is the product warranty, front mudguard installation instructions. Tools required: 1/8 inch drill bit, the center punch hammer, and short Phillips screwdriver or drill attachment. So same thing. Package contents: driver and passenger side mudguard, the screws, 6 of them, 2 of the other screws, U-clips for paint protection film, and the instruction sheet. So this is the instruction sheet. So it's talking about the very top hole is going to be a number 10 screw. The second one will be a number 8 screw, and both of the bottom ones there are the number 10 screw again. So there's only 2 number 8 screws that are in here. Should be able to tell what those are. And the 2 bottom ones that are down here. So there are 2 factory screws that are right here, and then there's 2 clips down here. So I'm guessing that these U-clips, and it shows right here, these U-clips are for these other ones, that there are holes there, but they're not the actual factory. They don't have screws in them yet. So we'll go ahead and start going on that. Notes, or the instructions here: clean and degrease the mudguard location on the area fender before installation. Remove existing fasteners from the locations B, C, and D. So B is the second hole, and then C and D are these bottom ones here. We'll get you a better view of that here in just a minute. Install the U-clips at C and D, that's the very bottom 2. Install mudguard with the number 8, that's the second one down, again the same as we did on the rear ones. Check fit and parallel, and install the number 10 screws, mark and drill, and then install. So the only one that we're actually drilling is the very top hole. So we'll go ahead and give you a view of this here. Letter A should be this one, and I'll have to see if it actually lines up. I'm hoping it does, that we don't have to drill it. And then this is the B hole. This is the one that the number 8 screw is supposed to go into. All the rest of them are number 10, and these are the 2 other ones that I was telling you about, where we're gonna have to they don't have the actual screws yet. I'll have to probably get a Phillips screwdriver, but this is pretty standard cap on them. You just pop up this little piece. I'll get a standard screwdriver, flat head, and it'll come out easier. But you just pop that up, and then the fasteners slide out. They use that in the engine bay on a lot of these vehicles now too. And these are the 2 that are going to require that U-clip. So we had to use U-clips on the runners that we installed on this also. So there are holes that are already there. So these will just kind of slide in there, and then give the screw something to bite into, is what those are for. So I'll go ahead and start uninstalling these, and I'll show it when we pop this off, just so you can see how to do those. But we're going to go ahead and start taking those off right now. Okay, so for these ones, and this is pretty common on the GM, is you just take that flathead, pop that out. With that out, that'll come out. And then those just pop back in, and you could reuse those. Our Terrain uses these, and so does this Sierra on the engine bay. So you can probably save these and reuse those in case you're doing any other improvements. So you just slide it. There's a little hole kind of right there. So you just slide it, and get the flathead in between there. This one's a little bit harder. And that's it. So since it popped out, again we'll show you. This is the little tab that we were showing you. So it kind of is an indent, so you can get the screwdriver in there, slide that in there, and then just pop it out. And then that'll slide back in, and it's just a fastener. So those are the first two. And then I'll have to undo this bolt. Alright, so for the U-clips, I'm having to fill back this. We only had to take the one out, not this one. The mudguard doesn't go up that far, but for the U-clips, you just take this and you have to slide it down here. There's this little hole. You just got to get it in there and slide it up to where it lines up with this hole. So that's lined up over the hole, and then we just got to do the same thing on the other side. This one's a lot easier because you don't have to squeeze it between this little piece or in that little hole. You just have to go over this little hole. Alright, and then when you put it back over, it's just kind of like that. So that's what will allow us to actually get the screw into. Otherwise, it's too big of a hole and it won't bite in there and secure it down. So we'll go ahead and do the paint protection. It's the same as the other ones.
What? Oh, okay.
We're going to put in the number 8. Now the difference between the number 8 and the number 10 screws, as you can see, the distance between the threading is a lot smaller on the 8. So put this flap up here, and this is the second hole down. This is supposed to be going to. Doesn't totally line up for me. I'm not sure if that's going in. I think it is. Yeah. So I did get it back into there, and it is tightening down. Now this one, which is the B position on the diagram, is one that I had to take an existing screw out of. It was on the truck. So that one lines up pretty nice. We've already put the paint protection film thing down, and then we can go ahead and move on to these lower ones and try and get them into those U-clips. So I'm having to look in here and try and line it up with the holes on the U-clips. Alright, and then that's it for those 3. Just with that 3 is pretty tight, but we're going to go ahead and drill that top portion. We'll have to grab the drill there, and then we can put in that last screw. Go ahead and drill this last hole, being that all those 3 are in already. Should be in good position. Alright, pretty easy. And we'll install this last screw. We'll do the same thing on the other side afterwards, and I'll give you a final view of what the whole truck looks like with all of the mud guards installed. DIY with Chris, giving you the tools to do it yourself.
DIY with Chris, giving you the tools to do it yourself.